Okay, y'all. So I was talking. I had no idea y'all couldn't hear me. I was trying a different microphone setup and it wasn't working. So I had to go back to my old trusty lavalier microphone right here. Sorry about. So I had a live posted. I just deleted it, took it down. But here we go with version number two. All right. Start this thing over. All right. Atlanta's not a real place. It's your grown man, John Beal, coming at you with just a quick story. So, as I was surfing the internet this morning and, scrolling Facebook, trying not to doom scroll. And, yeah, came across what my good friend Jamal Ahmed posted. He was at the hosting the NDRE 25th anniversary of the Acoustic Soul album at Center Stage last night. Now, I don't know what rock I've been under, but I had no idea that was happening. And man, I feel like I missed out on something, and I hate that feeling because I was around during those beginning times, and those are all my friends that were on stage. Those are all my friends that were involved, and I was really a big part of that scene. I was not part of the groovement movement. I was doing, we were doing some other things in parallel with them, but we were all a part of the scene that made up that Atlanta music scene. We were all part of this. We were all in our early 20s, 19, 20 years old during that time. And we all, were part of this thing that, made Atlanta this music mecca that it is right now. Anyway, bottom line is I wish I was there. But I'll tell you guys a quick story. All right. I just told this story. I got to start all over, but you guys couldn't hear it because mic wasn't working. All right. So, circa 2002, 2003, I had this really, really cool house on Cascade Road. I was, this was around the time that, Martini Club was still popping. What is it? What all of the what's the, Club Cafe 290 was popping. Yin Yang had just closed, and it was just it was just a vibe in the city, but things were really happening. Anyway, my studio was in my house on Cascade, and so imagine, just picture this. It's a house right on the right on the main strip of Cascade, uh, close to, like, where the beautiful restaurant is, and people would, it's the vibe where I drove a red Explorer at the time, and it would be parked in the front yard, and if my Explorer was there, people felt free to just pop by. No call first, no text first, whatever. My red Explorer is there all hours of the day, early evening. Folks would just pop by, because it was that vibe. My doorbell would ring. Oh, what's up? Come on in. That was just, or it would be the good, or it would be the hang after the gigs. Folks would just come through and hang out after the gigs. That's what we would do. And but we also had created some really good music during this time. This was around the time that I had just produced Jill Rock Jones' album, and I produced an album a young lady named Kai Elise, not to be confused with Kai Alcee, who's a great DJ. I just produced Kim Holloway, all these great local neo soul artists and funk producers. We've been working with Felipia. It was just a really dope vibe. Well, around this time, I was working with Billy Odom, great guitarist, funk rock guitarist, played with the Chronicle and a whole bunch of other people. Usher, incredible studio musician, and a good friend. But we were working together on an album or a couple songs with this great artist named Larnay. And during this process, there was a young lady who lived 2 doors down from me named India.Arie. India.Arie would literally walk over to my house and hang out. She and Larnay were really good friends, and she would come sing background on Larnay's project while we were working. And this was over the course of several weeks that we were kind of working. And during this time, I kind of got to know, India a little bit. And this was after she'd already blown up. This is, during the time that, she was kind of at the height of her career. And it was really, really cool to kind of, see her and hang out with her during this time, because I didn't really know her. I wasn't close with her during the early time when she was getting established. I knew, me and Kyrie knew each other pretty well. Me and many of the other people, I knew Donnie and Anthony David, we were cool, but I didn't really know India that well. So during this time, I got to know India, and that was cool. What's up, Jimmy Young? So, that was a really cool vibe, and yeah, she used to walk over barefoot. That's the funny thing. He kills you. She probably get mad at me for saying that, but yeah, she did walk over barefoot, and that was hilarious. Yes, or sometimes she had on sandals, but yes, so it was her and Eric Benet, no shoes, little earthy people. I'm sorry, but so here's where the story. This is the important part of the story. This is where Atlanta's not a real place. So, at the time, I'm in my, element. Atlanta is doing what Atlanta does during this time. I'm dating. I have, read between the lines. I'm a producer, black male producer, musician in Atlanta, single, straight, read between the lines. I was having a good time. And then this lady moved to town, moved back home, and kind of shut all that crap down. Yeah. I had to kind of settle it down. But she didn't really take me serious. I told her I was a producer. I was doing my thing, but everybody in Atlanta is a producer at this time. Everybody's saying, yeah, I make beats, I do whatever. And she was serious about, her career. Her career was a very, serious career. And, yes, as I'm a real musician and all, but, am I really serious about what I'm doing? So we're out on the date, though. She is taking me serious, but we're out on the date. And I had some people over at my studio that were working, and I had another engineer that was working there on the session while me and this young lady were out on the date. And get a phone call while we're out. Say, hey, we're running into an issue at the studio. I'm trying to solve the issue over the phone. That's not working. So I turn to my date and say, hey, I need to go by the studio Can we, you mind if we interrupt our date for a second to just go by? And she's like, yeah, that's fine. So we go to the studio, and first thing that happens is we walk in. Who's in there? It's India.Arie. My date's huge India.Arie fan. She's kind of starstruck, not really, because she doesn't really get like overly starstruck. She's real cool, but she just sits down and just kind of soaks it all in. I go into the studio room, I fix the issue, I come back out, and I'm like, okay, we can go now and go resume our date. She's like, nah, I want to sit here and enjoy this for a second. So that's fine. We sit there, vibe to the session for a little while. Notice that it pretty much our date concludes with us vibing in the studio for pretty much the rest of the evening, because my date didn't want to leave because she was really soaking in what it is that I really do, and the whole, professionalism and the level of caliber of artists that I really work with at this point. And needless to say, I'm married to her now. So, so she took, thank you, India, for that. You helped give me some credibility. So, I mean, I was gonna probably get to marry her anyway, because she's not that superficial. But you at least, you added to the credibility. But Atlanta's not a real place. I mean, I live next door to India.Arie, and 2 doors down, and she used to walk over to my house and record. And it was just the whole vibe, man. This is how Atlanta is, man. And this is, we weren't living in like, this was not Buckhead. This was not, this is not, the fancy part of Cascade. This was, this was what right there, West End. I mean, not far from the West End, right in the heart of, Cascade and Beecher. I mean, not the bougie part of town, just it is what it is. And, historic black, neighborhood, power to the people. But Atlanta's not a real place, and it never has been. So all these people that think that Atlanta is this newfound place for celebrity and all this other stuff, it's always been this vibe. You never know who's gonna live where, who's gonna be where, and the people that are real here are real here. It's never been about it's never been about this pretentious thing that a lot of people who move here are trying to flex and pretend, that they're all that. It's really just, if you cool and you got it, just be you, and it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. I just wanted to get in here and share this story. It was when Jamal posted that, this was the 25th anniversary of Acoustic Soul, I was reminded of that story. And, I wanted to share it with you guys, because that was my India.Arie experience that lasted over a period of a few months. And, I thank you, India. Salute to you for 25 years of a successful career and great music. We love you. I love you. And I hope you have at least 25 more years. We're not in our 20s anymore, but like Jamal said, when I hear your music, I feel like I am 20 years old all over again. Hey, salute to y'all. I love everybody, y'all. It's your grown man, John Beal. I'm out.